A friend of mine told me something recently. She's a photographer, she owns her own business, and she photographs weddings and graduations and birthday parties, the usual sorts of things that photographers do to earn a living. And she also does art photography, and she's had some of her photographs published in small magazines or online journals. Recently, she noticed that a website where some of her photographs had been featured had also published work by this artist who has a reputation in the community for engaging in online harassment and being very outspoken with certain intolerant opinions. I'm sure you can picture the type of person I'm describing. My friend contacted the publisher of the website with her concerns, and she and the publisher know each other, by the way. They have been acquainted for a few years. They exchange emails from time to time. They keep each other up to date on what each of them is doing professionally. There's not a close friendship there, but there's an established relationship. And the publisher responded, and he and my friend went back and forth about this for a bit. But here's what the publisher's initial reaction was to my friend sharing these concerns with him. He said, "How was I supposed to know about this?" He didn't say, "Thanks for bringing this to my attention. I'm going to take care of this." He didn't even say, "Can you please link me to some examples of this person's problem behavior so I know what we're dealing with and I can respond accordingly?" Straight to self-defense, self-absolution. "I'm innocent. What do you want from me?" Last week, another woman I'm acquainted with posted on Facebook about how she had written an email to a guy about something business-related and had received no response from him for several days. Then a male colleague of hers emailed the same guy about the same thing and received a response in a matter of hours. In the comments beneath that Facebook post, another guy said to my friend, "Well, maybe the first guy just didn't see your email. And the second guy's email is the one he responded to because that's the one he saw." Perfectly reasonable explanation that also just so happens to exonerate the guy who ignored my friend's email of any possible display of sexist bias on his part, however unwittingly. It's all so very innocent. I share these stories with you for three reasons. First, if you're someone who has had an experience like the ones had by my two friends that I just described, I see you. I believe you. I don't think you're being overly sensitive. I don't think you're expecting too much. It's not your fault. Second, and most especially if you're a man, don't be that guy. Don't be the guy who defaults to defensiveness when someone comes to you with a concern. Don't be the guy who ignores women but is Mr. Reliable when a man needs something. And don't be the guy who apologizes and makes excuses for the shitty behavior of other men when you hear about it. Third, again, this is mostly for my fellow men, and this is the most difficult one of all for a lot of us. Admit that you have been that guy. Maybe not always, maybe not often, maybe only once or twice, though probably a lot more than that. But at some point, you have been that guy. Unless you are a truly extraordinary exception to the rule, you have gotten defensive. You have shown favoritism toward men at the expense of women, whether you consciously intended to or not. You have defended the problematic behavior of other men. I have been that guy. From time to time, despite my best efforts, I still am that guy. I'm not proud of it. I feel bad about it. But what's really important is not that I feel bad about it, but that I use those feelings and my awareness of my shortcomings to motivate me to do better in the future, so that I find myself being that guy less and less, and being the kind of guy who responds to those kinds of situations in the right way more often. Due to the revelations of Harvey Weinstein's misconduct, we're having a bit of a moment regarding sexual harassment and abuse. Women are once again speaking out about their experiences, and we men are once again being reminded that we've been told about this before, and we haven't seemed to really care. Harvey Weinstein isn't the problem. Harvey Weinstein is a symptom of the problem. He is one of many, and the problem is not unique to Hollywood. It is everywhere. In my own usual stomping ground of the atheist community, sexual harassment and abuse has been a problem since forever. It was brought to light 6 years ago by Rebecca Watson and Elevator Gate. It was just recently brought to light again by MythCon, an event where several outspoken misogynists and rape apologists were invited speakers, one of whom was actually cheered for taunting a sexual assault survivor by saying that he wouldn't even rape her. These problems are not aberrations. They are pervasive. They persist, and the attitudes that fuel them persist, in part because they are so difficult to talk about openly and honestly. And one of the things that makes these discussions so difficult is the instinct that many of us have to make other people's experiences all about ourselves. If someone comes to you with a concern about someone else, or about an issue that affects a lot of people generally, and your initial response is to disown the problem, to plead ignorance, to renounce any and all responsibility, you've just signaled to the person who came to you with a concern that, at best, you don't understand what they just told you, and perhaps even worse yet, that you don't care. Unless the problem that has been brought to you is specifically about you, your attitudes, your words, your actions, it probably doesn't make sense to react to it as though it was about you. If you are making it about you, you probably don't get it. But even if it is about you, getting defensive and immediately seeking to absolve yourself of any and all responsibility is not a good way to respond. When someone comes to you with a problem, whether it's about you or about someone or something else, their motivation probably isn't to make you feel bad. They're probably trying to enlist your help in solving the problem, or perhaps just trying to make you aware of the problem or elicit your support. If you respond by reflexively arguing for your own innocence in the matter, rather than showing your support and attempting to engage honestly with the problem, then you have shown the person who came to you with a concern that you can't be counted on, that you aren't really interested in understanding or helping to solve the problem. And if you behave this way consistently, they may decide that you aren't a person who can be relied upon or trusted, generally speaking. And maybe you're okay with that. I don't know. Maybe the reason you act like you don't care about, for example, sexual harassment is because you don't care about it. And you don't care if other people know that you don't care about it. You're aware of the existence of widespread abuse, but you're apathetic. So you're a shitty person. But hey, that's your right. You do you. The thing is, there are lots of people who behave this way who do want to be seen as good guys, as open-minded, as progressive. They want people to think of them as good allies. Some of them are even pretty good at talking the talk, but when the opportunity presents itself for them to walk the walk, they reveal how shallow and useless their commitment to allyship and promoting positive change really is. And believe me, I do not intend to hold myself up as a role model in this. I have been a truly terrible ally on multiple occasions in the past. I have been selfish. I have been defensive. I have done all of the things that I am counseling people to avoid in this video. The one thing I have learned, however, through the years and through my many attempts to try to be a better ally, is that I don't get to decide whether or not I'm a good ally. Other people make that judgment about me, based not just on what I say, but what I do. If I want to be thought of as a good ally, I have to act like one. And so does everybody else. Not every powerful person in Hollywood behaves like Harvey Weinstein. Many do, But there are many more who don't actually behave that way themselves, but know about those who do. And they say they're against it, they condemn it, but in practice, they seem pretty comfortable with it. Not every prominent atheist is a sexual harasser or a misogynist or a white supremacist, but there are quite a few who insist they are appalled and disgusted by such things, but don't seem willing to do much of anything about them. Not every man is a rapist or a sexual abuser, not by a long shot. But there are a lot of us, and I mean a whole lot of us, who are willing to condemn such things in the abstract, but aren't good for much else beyond that. We're being called upon to do more to fight sexual harassment and assault, to raise our own awareness, to do more to foster environments where such things are not tolerated and excused, and we're treating it like a personal accusation. We're getting defensive. We're presenting our credentials. We're demanding exoneration. We're making it about ourselves, and we're not helping. Hey folks, hope you got something out of this one. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And also please consider helping me to make more videos like this one by supporting this channel through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to become a patron of this channel. Thanks for watching.